Hello, I'm Pat Lovelace. I'm the museum director for the Guilford Keeping Society. And this is my friend Lucy Brecklin. She's going to be our model today. We're going to be talking about ways to dress for Early Guilford Day. There are many, many different ways you can do it. We're going to show you a few examples and then talk about what you might possibly do. But before we start, I wanted to show you a couple of books. This one is called Sarah Morton's Day. It's about a pilgrim girl. And in the book, it shows the many different layers of clothing that she had to wear back in those days. So she would start out with a shift like Lucy has on today, and then she would add a skirt and her stockings, and then she had to have garters, which are ties to hold her stockings up. She would put on I think it's called a waistcoat, which would be like a jacket that she would wear, and she would have her apron because she always helped in the kitchen, and her pocket, which we'll show you what a pocket is later, where she would keep things, because the clothing in those days were very simple. They didn't have pockets in them, so they had to wear something else. And then her shoes, and she'd be ready for the whole day. Okay, and the other one I wanted to show you was Samuel Eaton's Day, and this is what a boy would wear. He would wear a shift to bed. They would wear that as their nightshirt, and then he would put on his stockings, long socks again. I'll show you a pair of those in a minute. And then his breeches, which are his pants. They were a little bit shorter, as you can see, a little bit shorter than pants are today. And the stockings, and he would put his shoes on. And in the back, the pants are tied in the back, so his mom had to help him tie them in the back so that they would stay on the right way. So those are just a couple of ideas of what they wore back in those days. This trunk is called Becky's trunk. Back in 1993, Becky Light was a third grade teacher at Cox School, and she and Tassie Waldman, who was the librarian, started Early Guilford Day. So they named this trunk after Becky Light, and the other trunk that I bring around with artifacts and stuff in it is called Tassie's trunk. And the clothing that's in it were made by Cox School parents back in the early 90s to be examples of what they wore back in those days. Okay, so we're going to start with Lucy, and we're going to show you what she might wear. So first, she's got her shift on that she would have on, and then she would put on a skirt. Now, go over you can step right into it. And then she'd be able to tie it tighter. She's just going to hold it for now, just not going to keep it on too long. And she would have a skirt on. So when you do Early Guilford Day, you don't have to go out and buy things. You don't have to make your outfit, but if you do, that's wonderful. You can just borrow mom's shirt, or if you have a shirt already that you think you'd like to wear, you can wear the shirt and wear a skirt with it, and you'll be fine. The other thing that they might put on, and she would have put this on working in the kitchen, young ladies would. This is an apron. Can you hold the skirt and do the apron too? Okay. And then buttons in the back. We're not going to, pull it up. It's a little smaller. Lucy's getting taller. So they wear the apron during the day when they're working in the kitchen so they don't get their clothes really dirty. Okay, you can take those off if you'd like. This is just another example of a skirt, and you can see they're very, very simple. If you wanted to make one, you could. It's just fabric with a seam and a string through it, and you would tie it. So that's just an example of what the girls might wear. Another thing that they might wear, and Lucy, you can just hold this up, they might wear a vest with a skirt underneath. Here's a skirt that matches it. And you have the skirt underneath it. Woo! I'm giving Lucy a workout here. So you can wear a vest with the skirt also and be very pretty. So here is another one that matches the outfit. So they might have different vests to wear with the same skirt. Okay. All right. Another thing that they would wear on their head, they might have a pinner, and these are very easy to make. It's just a circle of fabric with a little bit of lace around it, and you would just take a couple of bobby pins and stick it on your head. So that's called a pinner. The other one is called a mop cap. It's a little more complicated to make, but it covered their hair so that when they were cooking and doing all kind of chores, their hair wouldn't get that dirty, because they didn't have showers and bathtubs like we do. They had maybe a tub they would put hot water in, and they'd take a bath maybe once a week or whatever, get washed up during the week. So they wanted to make sure they stayed as clean as they could. So the mop cap was usually worn when they were doing chores around the house. Okay, these are other examples of aprons. Here's another very simple apron to make if somebody wanted to make one. It's just, say, again, a piece of fabric with a seam, and you put the string through it. That's a simple one. Here was a little bit different one. But if your mom or somebody you know has an apron already, you can just borrow the apron and wear it with your dress or your outfit, whatever. These are the stockings they would have worn. I don't expect you to wear these stockings, but these are the kind of stockings they would have worn. And you can see how loose they are at the top, so you would actually definitely need garters, which are a tie that would go around them to hold them up. Okay. Another thing that the girls would have would be a pocket. It might be a simple pocket like this, and they would usually put it inside their dress or their skirt, because there'd be a slit in it where they could put their hand in, or they could put it outside and tie it around, and that way they could carry things. Or they might have a really pretty one that they wore for fancy occasions that they have done some beautiful embroidery on. So that would be another thing. Okay, that's that. I think that's it. Okay, so that is what the girl would wear. Now Lucy's going to make believe she's a boy. She's only going to hold up things up. They would have had a shirt. And for the boys, if you have a nice shirt like this, fine. If you don't, you can wear dad's shirt, you can wear a t-shirt, whatever you'd like. And in this video, there'll be some pictures that you can see of different kids that have done different things. The most important thing I want you to know is that you try the best you can to make an outfit. It doesn't have to be a fancy, fancy outfit. Okay, so she would wear that. And then this is a pair of breeches that the boy would have worn. And this is the way they go. And as you saw in the picture, the mom had to help him get it. No, sorry, this is the front. The mom would have had to help him tie it in the back to make sure he got it on right. So that would go underneath there. Can you hold that loose? Okay. Another kind of shirt. Let's take that one away. The other kind of shirt that they would have worn is just a regular linen shirt that they would have worn. Now, the most important thing to remember about clothes in early Guilford were whatever clothes they had to make. And before they can make them, for linen, they'd have to grow something called flax. For wool, they'd have to shear the sheep and then straighten out all the fibers and weave it and do all that stuff. So everything had to be done like that. So they didn't have many clothes. And if you're in a colonial house, and there are many of them in Guilford, you won't see too many closets in the bedrooms because they didn't have a lot of clothes. They had to do with what they had. And they might have one nice outfit for Sunday and special occasions, and then they're just one outfit they wear most of the time. And lots of times, if they had an older brother or sister, they would get their clothes as they grew out of them. They would be called hand-me-downs. And so one of the most important things to remember about it is that they didn't have a whole closet full of clothes. They couldn't go to stores and buy clothes unless they had a lot of money, then they could do that. But usually they might have what's called a tricorn hat. But they also would wear straw hats and all kinds of stuff. Okay, so the most important thing I want you to remember is that the day is meant to be representative of early Guilford Day. You don't have to be exactly the way they dressed in those days. And one of the other things I most want to say to you is that we have done this for 27 years. So you might have a neighbor who already has a costume or who already did one that would be very happy to help you organize your costume. But whatever you wear is going to be fine with us. And we're going to have some pictures that you'll see in this video that show you what some of the children did. So look at those pictures and maybe that'll give you some ideas. Thank you for watching. We enjoyed doing this. Thank you, Lucy.